In the small, isolated town of Ravenswood, nightfall brings more than just darkness. It is said that once the last ray of sunlight disappears, a veil descends over the town, separating it from the known world and plunging it into a realm of unspeakable horrors. This is the story of what lies beyond the veil of night. A thick fog enveloped the town as Sarah, a young journalist with a penchant for uncovering mysteries, arrived in Ravenswood. She had come to investigate the strange occurrences reported by the few remaining residents. Tales of missing people, shadowy figures, and haunting whispers had piqued her interest. Sarah rented a room at the only inn in town. The innkeeper, an old man with a haggard face and wary eyes, warned her not to stay out after dark. When the sun sets, the veil descends, he muttered, and those who remain outside are never seen again. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah brushed off his warnings. She spent the day interviewing townspeople, who all spoke of the veil with a mix of fear and reverence. They believed it was a barrier between their world and a darker, sinister realm. As dusk approached, Sarah set up her camera in the town square, ready to document what happened when night fell. The last rays of sunlight vanished, and an unnatural stillness settled over Ravenswood. The air grew heavy, and an impenetrable darkness blanketed the town. Through her camera lens, Sarah saw a faint, shimmering curtain descend from the sky. The veil. She felt a chill run down her spine, but kept recording. Suddenly, her camera went dead, and she was plunged into complete darkness. The silence was deafening. Then she heard it, a low, guttural whisper, echoing through the empty streets. Sarah, Sarah. It was as if the darkness itself was calling her. Fear gripped her heart, but she forced herself to move, seeking refuge in the inn. The next morning, Sarah reviewed the footage. The veil was real, and so were the whispers. Determined to learn more, she visited the town's library. She discovered an old journal belonging to a man named Jonathan Blackwood, who had lived in Ravenswood a century ago. The journal detailed a secret ritual performed by the town's ancestors to protect themselves from a malevolent entity known as the Watcher. They believed the veil was a barrier created to trap the Watcher in a parallel realm. But over time, the ritual had been forgotten, and the veil had weakened. Sarah realized that to understand the true nature of the veil, she needed to find the ritual and perform it herself. The journal hinted at a hidden chamber beneath the old church, where the ritual had taken place. Armed with the journal, Sarah ventured into the church's basement. She found a concealed trapdoor leading to a series of underground tunnels. The air grew colder as she descended, and the whispers grew louder. Sarah, come closer. After what felt like hours, she reached a large circular chamber. In the center lay an ancient altar, covered in dust and cobwebs. The walls were inscribed with strange symbols, and in the dim light of her flashlight, she could see faint, ghostly figures moving around the room. Summoning her courage, Sarah followed the instructions in the journal. She chanted the incantation, lighting candles and placing them in a specific pattern around the altar. The ground shook, and the air crackled with energy. As she completed the ritual, the veil began to shimmer and pulse with an otherworldly light. The whispers grew to a deafening roar, and the Watcher emerged from the darkness, a towering figure with eyes like burning coals and a face twisted in rage. "Who dares disturb my realm?" it bellowed. Sarah stood her ground, chanting the final words of the incantation. The symbols on the walls glowed brightly, and a blinding light filled the chamber. The Watcher screamed, a sound that echoed through the tunnels and shook the very foundations of the church. When the light faded, the Watcher was gone, and the veil was lifted. Sarah collapsed to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. Back in the town square, Sarah watched as the sun rose over Ravenswood. The townspeople emerged from their homes, confused but relieved. The whispers were gone, and the oppressive darkness had lifted. Ravenswood was free. Sarah knew she had uncovered only a fraction of the secrets that lay beyond the veil of night. The journal hinted at other rituals, other entities trapped in the darkness. As she packed her belongings and prepared to leave, she felt a strange sense of unease. As she drove away, she couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was watching her. The veil might have lifted, but its secrets remained. And as long as they did, the darkness would always wait, lurking just beyond the edge of night. Just as Sarah crossed the town's border, her phone rang. It was a blocked number. Hesitating, she answered. A distorted voice crackled through the speaker. "You lifted the veil, but the darkness is not contained. It will follow you, Sarah. The Watcher knows your name now. It knows your scent." A cold dread washed over her. She glanced in the rearview mirror, and for a brief moment, saw a pair of burning coal eyes staring back at her from the back seat. She spun around, but the back seat was empty. The veil may have lifted from Ravenswood, but it seemed that the darkness had found a new home within Sarah. Her journey was far from over. As she drove on, the whispers began anew, louder and more insistent. The camera on her dashboard flickered to life, capturing the eerie glow of eyes in the rearview mirror. Sarah realized she had become the new keeper of the darkness, its link to the world beyond the veil. Her fight had just begun, and this time it was personal. The story ends with Sarah's car disappearing into the foggy distance, leaving viewers with a chilling sense of suspense and the unsettling knowledge that the veil of night is ever present, waiting to consume its next victim.
Yeah.